everyone, welcome back to Psychology of Rock. If you're new here, my name's Nina, and today we are talking about two of my absolute favorite genres of music, progressive rock and progressive metal. And the reason why some people can get genuinely excited by a 20-minute track in 7/8, while other people can't even make it past the intro because to them it just feels like musical calculus. And if you've ever wondered if it's because the brains that love progressive music are actually wired a little differently, you would be 100% correct. And I think you're going to find the research on this pretty interesting. So in this video, we are going to explore the psychology and neuroscience behind why certain listeners are drawn to such complex, unconventional music. We'll also look at the personality traits that predict a love of prog, the cognitive styles that make complicated music so satisfying, the emotional and neurological responses that long-form songs can trigger, and even the subtle links between prog appreciation and pattern-focused thinking. As always, you can find the citations for all of the studies that I used to make this video in the description box, just in case you want to read them for yourself. But let's go ahead and dive in. So to start, as we all know, one of the biggest reasons why prog stands out is that it refuses to follow the usual rules of mainstream music. Instead of fitting neatly in a box, the structures wander, the rhythms shift all over the place, and the lyrics often unpack big ideas like philosophy, psychology, mythology, and even astrophysics. It really is music that demands your full attention, and I think that alone says a lot about the type of mind that tends to connect with it. But let's dive a little bit deeper into these specifics. So firstly, what does research have to say about people who gravitate towards prog? Well, while they were not able to link a particular personality type to the genre, they did see some pretty consistent trends when it came to a few of the big 5 personality traits. So let's go ahead and break that down. I think what stands out to me the most is that studies show that prog fans consistently score extremely high in openness to experience, which includes things like curiosity, imagination, and a love of novelty and abstract ideas. This is likely why listeners are naturally drawn to music that by nature is often layered, unusual, and intellectually stimulating. There's also a small tendency for them to score slightly lower in conscientiousness, meaning they often prefer flexibility and creativity over rigid structure. This is exactly what I would have expected to see, and also how I personally score in both of those traits. But the other 3, agreeableness, extroversion, and neuroticism, are not nearly as clear. For the most part, they showed mixed or inconsistent patterns, depending on the specific style of prog that someone preferred to listen to. So this really is not a reliable predictor without further specifications. For example, fans that prefer what was labeled as intense or rebellious prog tended to score higher on neuroticism, while fans of atmospheric, more emotionally expansive prog often scored lower in the trait, which could hint at better emotional regulation. At the same time, however, this music is often used as a tool to help regulate emotions in the first place. So the relationship is probably a little bit more complicated than it looks on the surface. But overall, I think it's clear that openness is the standout trait here, which makes perfect sense. But there are a lot of other factors at play that have much more to do with cognitive style than personality. Studies show that some people enjoy mental challenge much more than others, and prog fans definitely fall into that group. It was observed that they don't just passively listen, they actively participate in the experience. They tended to track shifting rhythms, notice recurring motifs, predict structural changes, and reflect on the lyrical and conceptual themes. Studies have also shown that fans that do engage in this type of active listening often experience higher levels of satisfaction and even pleasure from listening to music because it stimulates both problem-solving circuits and reward pathways in the brain. They found that for many prog listeners, a long song is almost like a complex puzzle with emotional stakes, and that solving it not only enhances their intellectual enjoyment, enjoyment, but also their emotional connection to the music itself. Further studies show that listeners are particularly attuned to patterns, structures, and systems and find genuine gratification in understanding how these different elements interact and fit together, whether that's in music, mathematics, or other structured domains. This fits perfectly with the genre because things like odd time signatures, extended song forms, layered rhythms, and recurring harmonic or thematic motifs all help to create a kind of musical architecture that is incredibly rewarding for people who enjoy exploring systems from the inside out. But even beyond this, studies in auditory neuroscience indicate that the brains of prog fans can often actively identify and decode the patterns in the music. This activates networks in the prefrontal cortex associated with planning, prediction, and sequence recognition, while also engaging auditory and motor areas involved in rhythmic perception. But the appeal of prog is not just intellectual. Studies have also shown that music that's unpredictable or intricately structured can create especially strong emotional responses when the listener is actively engaged. The long builds, the tension and release, the dramatic crescendos, and the climactic returns to the earlier themes all land more powerfully because the listener has been following the emotional and structural logic of the entire song. In addition, mentally mapping these arrangements while simultaneously experiencing these intense ups and downs in the music was found to activate both analytic and emotional regions of the brain, including the reward circuits that release dopamine. This dual activation is likely why so many prog listeners, including myself, experience such strong frisson, those sudden chills or goosebumps we feel when music takes a dramatic turn or comes to a dramatic climax. This is a response that usually cannot be triggered by simpler music. It was also found that prog tends to attract people who are naturally drawn to big questions. Many albums explore things like identity, consciousness, time, societal issues, or even the very meaning of existence. And research has shown that people high in intellectual curiosity are especially motivated to engage with art that challenges them conceptually. For these listeners, music becomes inseparable from ideas. It's both an aesthetic and philosophical experience. Concept albums, narrative arcs, and metaphorical lyrics appeal to minds that enjoy weaving these elements together into a coherent mental model. It is literally the ideal genre for this type of brain because it's so stimulating on so many levels. And for prog fans, it's not overwhelming like it can be for others. It really is the perfect fusion of mental challenge, emotional engagement, and creative expression. And of course, none of this means that prog fans are always one type of person, but I think it's safe to say that we usually do share a lot in common. But I want to hear what you think. Do you think this research is pretty accurate, or is there something that you'd like to dispute or add? I think in my own case, it is definitely on point, but again, I am looking forward to hearing if you feel the same way, so let me know down below. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not done so already. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, and I will see you in the next video.